Hi there, welcome to episode 130 of the WaveBack Music Podcast. My name is Kris.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to listen to the most interesting video game music there is. The Sega Genesis was known for many things, including its distinct sound. Arguably, that sound was never used better than in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, and it all started here 30 years ago. Don't trust that mad scientist, because tonight we listen to the music of Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis. Well, hello, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. How's everything?
Everything continues to go.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it hasn't stopped, so that's good. No, I'm doing all right. We're here celebrating the 30th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Good gravy.
Yeah.
30 years.
30 years of that rat. I'm just kidding.
No, you're not. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, indeed.
But to be fair, I can't believe it's been 30 years.
Yeah, right. It feels it's very strange feeling that Sonic is 30 years old. But
yeah,
you know, there was a couple of Sonic the Hedgehog games on the Master System, so that kind of makes it feel a little bit more old, even though we started on the Genesis. That the Master System was still pumping out games, so it feels all right. I can be okay with this being 30 years old. But man, when I just think about the Genesis version being 30 years old, it just makes me feel weird. It makes me feel all funny.
For me, it's just an existential crisis, because that means I was 10 when this game came out, and I remember exactly where I was.
Well, I look forward to hearing that story. But first, I think you should hit us with some history.
Ooh. I don't know why I just did that, but
I'm glad you did.
It. All right. Oh, it's going to be one of those nights. Sonic the Hedgehog was released on June 23rd, 1991 for the Sega Genesis in North America. Releases followed shortly after in Europe and Japan in July of 91, but Sega of America had the honor of giving the game its debut since its marketing department had so much to do with the character's eventual persona. Created specifically to take down Mario and Nintendo, Sonic's release gave new life to the somewhat underwhelming Sega Genesis console. Sonic's flashy graphics and personality rocketed him to superstar status seemingly overnight, and succeeded in propelling the Sega Genesis to the top of the 16-bit console war, even surpassing Nintendo for a time. The game's success spawned numerous sequels, several animated series, mountains of merchandise, a feature film, comics, and more. While the quality of many of those releases is up for debate, one thing that's for sure is that Sonic is a true gaming icon and is here to stay.
The game's music was composed by Masato Nakamura, who in the process effectively redefined what Sega Genesis audio could sound like. Oddly enough, his involvement in the world of video game music more or less stops there. He composed the music for the sequel, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but parted ways with Sega when a financial dispute regarding the music for Sonic 3 arose. He's done a lot of other musical work in television commercials and the like, but his iconic work on Sonic the Hedgehog is probably what he's best known for, at least in the realm of those of us who spend time with video game music. So, Matt, what is your personal history with this game that you love so dearly?
All right. I'm just gonna come out right now and say it. I'm not a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog game. I said it. I don't take it back. I don't regret a minute of it. I don't want to say distaste, because I don't hate the game. It just never grabbed me, and over the years, all the other iterations of it and kind of the direction they went with it was just not in my wheelhouse or whatever, you know. But I'd said before, I remember exactly where I was the first time I played Sonic the Hedgehog. I had a friend growing up who I would sleep over his house all the time, and we'd stay up way late playing video games, and his parents would get mad at us or whatever. But we were kids; it was harmless fun. And he got Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis. And I'll be honest with you, back then when it dropped, we were very like, oh my god, this game is so fast. Oh, I can't keep up with the animation. And we were very much like blown away by it. And I can remember we just played into the wee hours of the morning, just we had to just, what's the next level? We had to beat it. We had to keep going. We just kept trading control. The controller would go back and forth. I'd die, he'd go, he'd die, I'd go. And, until one of us eventually just fell asleep. And then eventually, I ended up getting a copy of it for myself, for my home system. And I played, I played it, and one of the things I will say about it is I enjoyed the graphics. There were elements of the graphics I thought were really great. But, like I said, ultimately, our paths were going in two different directions. And I'm not bitter at Sonic the Hedgehog, and I don't think he holds any ill will towards me. And that's where it is. I mean, I've over the years I've checked in on the installments. Sonic 2. There was the first 3D Sonic.
Adventure, or do you mean 3D Blast?
Which was the one that had the special levels where you were running on the orb or the globe?
Oh, that was Sonic 3.
Oh, that was Sonic 3?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Then one of the first ones that was like third person over the shoulder, and you're like hitting these ramps and loops and corkscrews like you were on a roller coaster.
Yeah, that was the Dreamcast one. That was Sonic Adventure.
Yeah, okay, Sonic Adventure. You know what it was? I essentially traded one friend for another who loved Sonic the Hedgehog. It was really weird. Everyone around me has loved Sonic the Hedgehog games except for me. So I was always I couldn't get away from it, if you will. But that particular one, Sonic Adventure, I remember thinking, like, this is really ambitious for a video game. And, for the time, I thought, wow, this is impressive. Just how they, the level designs and things like that. But, yeah, that's kind of it for me. That's where my stuff for Sonic ends, really.
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think of the best way to tell my story of Sonic the Hedgehog without sounding like a complete idiot. And
listen, you're on a show with me. There's no way you could sound more of an idiot than I do. So, I say just go for it.
Well, I was a militant, diehard Nintendo fanatic back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm not a diehard Nintendo fanatic now, but I wasn't so like. I mean, I was a console warrior, man. It was stupid. it was so stupid. But
listen, we were young. We didn't know any better.
Exactly, we were young. But I did have experience with Sega consoles. Before I became a console warrior, I was very platform agnostic when I started getting into video games. Video games were video games, but then I kind of got caught up in the marketing stuff that started happening of Nintendo versus Sega. Just because there was like a bit of that in the schoolyard with a couple of my friends. There were Sega fans and Nintendo fans, but when the 16-bit things happened, especially with Sonic the Hedgehog, like that was what really kicked off. Sega was doing a lot of marketing that was very specifically targeted at Nintendo,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I started to kind of be like, no, heck with that. I'm a Nintendo guy, and that's my team. I picked my team. I had neighbors who had the Master System. I started on the Atari, and I thought video games were video games. I thought they were cool, but then until I didn't. And Sonic the Hedgehog, I was like really down on when it came out. I was like, boo, thumbs down, no way.
I don't know why that's so funny. Boo, thumbs down. I'm gonna start shouting that at things now. I don't like if I go to a baseball game and like the Yankees are playing, I don't know, the Dodgers. Boo! Thumbs down. Wrestling events, forget it. Oh my god.
You can put it on a sign. Boo, thumbs down.
That's such a good idea.
No way.
I don't have to lose my voice.
There you go.
You're a genius.
Let the sign do the talking.
Proceed.
So the thing was that I was a liar. I thought it was awesome. I saw it and I loved the art direction. I loved specifically what took me about it was the way that the background had so many layers of scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had never seen that even in other Genesis games. I had seen the Genesis out there as like the follow-up to the Master System, and the only thing that I really wanted The only thing that really interested me on the Genesis, where I considered asking my parents to get us one, was Altered Beast, because we had played it in the arcade, and I mean, I was so taken aback by that game's, style and graphics and sound that I didn't really pay attention to the fact that the game's not very good.
No, yeah, it's not.
And I saw the Genesis port, it was like, wow, that's almost arcade perfect. That's really close. I really want that, but it never came to be. So when Sonic the Hedgehog showed up and was moving all fast in the commercials and stuff, and specifically when you'd go up a jump and you'd see all the different layers moving in the background, like not just like one or two. I mean, like, it's such a crazy cool effect. The Green Hill Zone is such a nice looking area of a video game. It's really, really, really cool. So that was super impressive to me internally, but I was externally very down on Sonic the Hedgehog. And then by the time Sonic 2 came around, I couldn't really hide it anymore, and I would just I respected the Sonic games because Sonic 1 in particular kind of turned me around a little bit because the ads were all about the speed and the attitude. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the things that I think this soundtrack is really good at pointing out, is that that's not the game, like, at all. No. And especially when you listen to like the first track, the Green Hill Zone is a chill song. There's very little about Sonic's music, Sonic 1's music, that makes me think speed. And there's actually very little in the game design that makes you think speed. In fact, if you're playing it super fast, you're missing a ton. It wasn't... I always thought the game was really interesting, and since I never had a Genesis, I'd never had the opportunity to sit and really play it. And it wasn't actually until I met my wife, who had a Genesis, and she showed me how to beat Sonic the Hedgehog. And when she played the first level, she did it super slow, but she was jumping everywhere, finding all these hidden platforms. It's like, man, you got to stock up on the extra lives because the end of the game is really hard. It's like, this is a totally different beast than it seemed. Mm-hmm. And you had mentioned, Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast. Now, that game was very much built around speed. Like, the adventure stages are just go, 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 go. And it's one of the reasons I've never finished that game, because, like, it's neat and it's flashy when it works, but every time you, like, press left or something and you just walk off a cliff, and it's like, okay, whatever. Yeah. It wasn't until I wound up playing Sonic Rush on Nintendo DS, I thought was the first time they really nailed combining Sonic, what made the Sonic games good in the first place. Like, not playing them as in, like, well, I just gotta run as fast as I can. Run, I gotta go fast. Like, playing them as precision platformers and being patient, until you get those brief opportunities where you can go super fast. They're kind of like rewards. And Sonic Rush on DS, I think, really hit that the best. I think that was the best melding of those two different things, where it's like, no, there's a time to go fast and there's a time to go slow, and you've got to switch between those two things organically, or it's just going to be a mess, which is what I feel a lot of other Sonic games are. But going back to the first Sonic, I became super impressed with it once I saw how it really worked. And I remember, like, Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 in particular, my neighbor Greg had Sonic 3, like, he got Sonic 3, and I was like, oh, what? Knuckles? What the heck is that? I liked that super bold color design, like, each character had, like, this one primary color or something going on.
Yeah.
I don't know, I have a weird relationship with Sonic, because, since being a grown-up and seeing how to properly play the games, I've beaten all the Genesis games, and I've come to really enjoy them. Not as much as, like, a Mario game, not by a long shot. Once the flash runs off, Sonic is a decent game. Like, Sonic 1's alright. It's not a bad game. It's fairly well designed, but that was the thing that was going up against Super Mario World back in the day, and that Sonic 1 would even, putting those two games next to each other, like on a basic flashy level, I can see why people would choose Sonic. But from an actual gameplay standpoint, they're not even in the same stratosphere. So it's one of those weird things that I look back on like, man, this game won over on pure style. This is the PlayStation 2 of video games, right? Because remember when the PlayStation 2 came out and it was like, all right, where are the games? Who cares? It's a DVD player and it says PlayStation on the box. You want it. And that's all anyone needed to hear. It would like the games came out eventually, but at first it didn't sell on having good games. It sold 100% on hype. And that's what Sonic the Hedgehog was. It was all hype. That was the sales, and it worked. And it's equal parts fascinating and frustrating to me that worked so well. But I've carved out a place in my heart for Sonic. I think every 3D Sonic game has been bad. And I don't mean to say that is like super disparaging. It just my honest opinion is I don't think they're good. I don't think they've made a good 3D Sonic game yet. Granted, I haven't played, was it Sonic Lost World? A lot of people seem to think is one of the better 3D Sonic games, or Sonic Colors for the Wii was supposed to be really good. And I think that had a lot of the people who made Sonic Rush for DS on it. But I didn't really like Sonic for a while, and then when Sonic Rush hit DS, I saw a trailer for it and was like, hey, that really does look cool, and the music's great. So I gave it a try, and it turned out I really like it, but that was because it was a thoughtful platformer. You know, it didn't play like a Sonic game, or what modern Sonic games had been. Like, every time they'd release something like Sonic Heroes, and I'd be like, wow, this is awful. This just doesn't work. I mean, I think I see what you're trying to go for, but no. And Sonic never had that Mario 64 moment, you know, where they took what worked in 2D and made it work in 3D. And a lot of franchises that didn't really work with, or it took a long time to get it to right. I mean, how long was it before we got a good 3D Castlevania? Like, oh my goodness, yeah. The N64 ones were ambitious, but they weren't great. It wasn't until Lament of Innocence on PS2 that Castlevania worked in 3D. We still haven't gotten good 3D Mega Man. You can argue that Mega Man Legends is a good game, but it sure as heck isn't a Mega Man game. Right. Yeah. It's neat, but it's got nothing. They have never successfully taken what made stuff like Mega Man or Contra or Sonic work in the first place and translate it properly to 3D. So anyway, that was a fun tangent. Sorry, I told you I was going to sound like a dork. Let's listen to some Sonic music, huh? Yeah. I do really like this soundtrack, and I do think that it's a very interesting one. Especially this first song we're going to listen to, Green Hill Zone, because it reminds me a bit of the Super Mario Brothers theme, where it's so ubiquitous with video games. It's a song that's been heard so many times that it's easy to take for granted and not really, listen to it and dissect it. And when you do, you realize it's a pretty good song. It's nowhere, again, I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the Super Mario Brothers theme, obviously, but it is a pretty good song, and it is not built around speed at all. It's a really chill video game song. This just reminds me of gaming of that era, not like this super fast, edgy future. So, I don't know. No lyrics in this. Let's give it a listen. Here is Green Hill Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog. Enjoy. the Green Hill Zone. I think one of the things that was so special about this song in particular, and what makes it so important, is that when this game came out and when this music accompanied that Green Hill Zone stage that looked the way it did with all those multiple layers of scrolling in the background, those extraordinarily bright colors, for those of us who had been primarily playing the NES and our knowledge of the Sega Genesis wasn't, you think about stuff like Altered Beast and it's got a lot of like muted colors, or even Golden Axe, or a lot of those first run of the Sega Genesis games, they obviously had more colors, but they had this very almost clunky feel to them. They didn't feel as polished. This was the first time I had seen what a 16-bit system was really capable of, And especially in the sound department, just the instruments themselves, Genesis music had always sounded very deconstructed. I was always able to pick out and there's this, and there's this. This is a collection of sounds that someone is forcing to come together to make a melody. Whereas this sounds cohesive, it sounds full, it sounds all of the parts are playing together, and it's like nothing I had ever heard before. Particularly on the NES, right? NES didn't sound anything like this, but also it wasn't like anything I had ever heard before come out of a Genesis, even with the limited time I had spent with one. So, the song itself is it's a good tune. It's memorable. It doesn't have like the hook, it's not as hook worthy as even I'd say Emerald Hill Zone from Sonic 2, or especially like the Super Mario Brothers theme. But as far as being effective at doing what it did and showing what the Genesis was really capable of in capable hands, it's an impressive piece of music.
I'll agree with a lot of the stuff that you just said. Graphics wise, the Genesis was always felt different from Nintendo. I think in some cases it worked in its favor, and then some it didn't. When you played games that were on both platforms, I feel like it was very polarizing. You either were on one side of that fence or the other. But you're right, absolutely, about the graphics for Sonic. There's definitely a level of beauty to it. You talked about the multi-depth, multi-layered backdrops, and for all these levels, and it was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Now, as far as the track is concerned, I don't know. I think I feel a little more strongly about this than you do, per se. Perhaps rather, in the respect that I think this song is more iconic than, again, my opinion. I think this song is more iconic than I think you're giving it credit. Yeah, absolutely. The Emerald track is certainly way more identifiable, maybe. But I think
I'm starting to think that I didn't word what I was saying well at all, because this song is extraordinarily iconic. I didn't mean to imply that this wasn't iconic. I think I meant, I guess, matching the tone that they wanted you to go for. I think that Emerald Hill is, when I say better written song, it is a more memorable song necessarily. If I think about really the energy of a Sonic game, Emerald Hill I think did that a little bit more effectively. Whereas this song, I mean, that opening, that sound right there is like, if you don't get nostalgic for that, it's because you weren't alive there, because that sound happened constantly, and it booted up so fast, right? Mm-hmm. You start that thing up, and it mash the start button, right, and that sound, and it is an extraordinarily iconic song. It's definitely right up there. I just meant to say that as a composition, and as far as having an effective melody that really sticks with you, I think that Emerald Hill and the Super Mario Brothers theme were just better written, I think, was what I was going for. More in
league with what they were visually presenting you.
Yeah, I suppose. I feel like I'm having a hard time articulating it, but yes, I 100% agree. This is one of the most iconic pieces of music in video game history because of how important this game was. At that time, it was earth-shattering, and this was the music that accompanied it.
Music to Shatter the Earth by.
And it's so chill. It's such a chill tune.
There's, like, so you kicked it off by saying it's so chill, and I'm like, let me see, let me refresh me, and I'll agree for the most part. I think that there are some pieces of it that if you kind of focus your listening attention to, you could come away with a bit of what's the word, urgency perhaps. I mean, you know, the ad campaign was about, like you said, the attitude and the speed. So if you fell in with it, you want the speed. You want to, how fast can this little blue thing move? And you know, you're hitting these loop-de-loops, and all of a sudden you're bouncing off these big springs, you know, clown-sized springs, and you know, you're just being shot in all kinds of directions. So yeah, you can, oh wow, oh whoa. So, I feel that there's it's subtle. You know, it's not as heavy-handed perhaps as, you know, things we've listened to in the past where like, oh man, you know, this boss battle, this is there's such a sense of urgency. Ooh, there's such a sense of dread. I think this is a little more. I almost get, and I say almost because it definitely doesn't hit it on the head, but I almost feel like it's an overture to some extent because, like you said, there's two ways to play this game. You can just try and bang right through it and you miss a lot of it, or you could take a step back. You can explore. Excuse me. Or you could take a step back and you can explore things. And I think this track is fairly indicative of that, giving you the opportunity. You decide your level of play.
I certainly can't disagree with any of the points you make. It does have. I think when I say it's so chill, I guess I can feel a little bit of urgency in it, but it does not scream speed to me. Like that no. Tempo is just like it's happy. It's cute and happy. It's
not that Sonic attitude that was in the commercials where he's just like, you know, like piss off, Mario.
Yeah. And like that attitude's in the game, but only sort of. Like he'll kind of smirk at the screen, but he's still pretty cute. Like overall, it's a pretty happy-go-lucky, bright and colorful environment for the most part. You're saving little woodland creatures and stuff, and
right.
It's it's a very interesting piece of music to go along with the launch of this franchise. You know, it's because when you think of what Sonic music is now, it's not this at all.
No, it's a very different feel.
Yeah, and I like this one a lot better.
I will agree with you.
But anyway, let's continue with now this is an earworm. This one will just get stuck in my head a lot over the years. Just I don't know what it is about it. The main hook of this song, just like, it's a freaking earworm, man, and I dig it. This is this was a stage that was impossible to go fast in. You try to move fast in this stage and you're just dead because you're gonna walk into some lava and die. This is Marble Zone, and this was as far as I saw in this game for years, because like I couldn't get past Marble Zone when the brief periods of time I'd play this at my friend's house. So I don't know, it's a cool track. I like it. Let's give it a listen. Here is Marble Zone. Enjoy. was the Marble Zone. I like that song a lot.
Yeah, the minute it started, I went, oh, this level. Because you're absolutely right. I spent a lot of time here.
So much waiting. They were like, they told me I needed to go fast, but I'm like, you're waiting on the super slow moving rocks in the lava. And it's like, come on. And like Sonic's getting impatient too.
Yeah,
you stand him long enough, he starts tapping his foot and like looking at the screen like, what do you want me to do? Kill you?
yeah, really. Like, come on. I remember that very specific melody. And that thing haunted me for a while. but all jokes aside, like it's a really good one though.
It is. Like I really like the drums. The really constant like like this music fits this level so perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a plodding, methodical stage. Like you've just got to wait your turn, and it's this. It sounds very like clockwork or marching. It's really, really effective at this stage, and I mean, it was so frustrating playing this stage as a kid because there were so many insta death. But like I said, it's a flippin' earworm, man. Just gets right in there and doesn't leave.
No, I'm guaranteeing you that tomorrow morning when I wake up, this will be in my head. just because, like I said, it's an absolute earworm.
Yeah, and that of all the songs, this is the one that's gonna stick in your head tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh boy. All right, well let's keep heading. Let's keep heading forward. Let's move to the Spring Yard Zone. Another fun track. Let's give it a bounce, eh? Spring Yard Zone. Enjoy. Spring Yard Zone.
This is another one that really brings back memories. There's something about this track. I can't place what genre of music it's reminding me of. I keep wanting to say like New Jack Swing, but that's so not fully accurate. But it would make sense because it was pretty much the same time period. But
I want to say some kind of like R&B or something, like like early '90s rap or something,
which is kind of what New Jack Swing was. New Jack Swing was like, God, what's his name? Teddy. Oh, it's gonna bother me now. I'm not gonna be able to think of it.
Sorry, you said Teddy. I'm like Roosevelt, Ruxpin. No, it's not either.
It was Teddy Ruxpin. New Jack Swing. Teddy Ruxpin was just.
He was more gangster rap, honestly.
Teddy Riley, that's his name. So artists that were like, it's right where you're talking about. Boyz II Men, Belle Biv DeVoe, you know, early Bobby Brown. You know what I mean? Like that stuff. It's. I think it is. I think I am thinking New Jack Swing because it's right at the same time. Like they were both in the forefront right at the same time. But the funny part is, like, it does it well. Like, it's not like it's not like listening to a parody or someone trying to emulate it. I feel like sprucing up the instrumentation, this could easily have passed for like a New Jack Swing single off of one of these groups.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that. I've never thought about it before. I've never really put the thought into it, but you're 100% right down to the part where it has like strikingly positive, like a couple of chunks of major chords in there. Like a lot of music from that era, like had that, which was, but it's also like got that kind of edge to it. You're right. It's very successful in being in that style, and I have never put the thought into it before. It's fascinating.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Well, shall we move on?
Yes, we shall.
Okay, this next track is Labyrinth Zone. I've always been a big fan of this one. I think this is a really cool song. So let's give it a listen. Here is Labyrinth Zone. Enjoy. So a couple of things I really like about that tune. I like I love the rhythm change up, you know, where it's kind of like it goes into double time during that one spot, which, you know, double time for this song is still pretty like chill. It's not like, it's not going into like punk territory, but it's like, it's got that really cool like, doom, 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 bah, and then it just kind of picks up later. I really like that change up. But I think even more importantly is I really like the way the bass works during the main melody part. It's almost like it's shadowing the main melody. Like it's doing the same notes, you know, it's doing a simplified version of that same melody, but it's doing it like one step behind. I think it's a really cool effect.
Yeah, it's almost like it's walking around the main melody, if you will.
Yeah, like it's just a few steps behind going doom, 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 doom. It really matches it, but it's happening in such an interesting timing. This is a really cool track.
Like what you were saying, it's like matching it, but at the same time, it's existing on its own.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So this wasn't the track I thought it was. I'm sure the one I'm thinking of will either be next or right after it. Terrible with names. If you've ever met me in person. This one popped up, and oh yes, I remember this one. It's a very interesting track. Again, it keeps in with the theme of what you've been talking about, where the music's still fairly chill for a game about a speed racing blue hedgehog. You know, it's such an interesting pairing. You know, I don't have anything to say.
Okay. And that is all I have to say. The end.
Yep. The end. Have a good night.
End of line. All right. Well, then I guess let's move on to the next track. It's this is another one of my favorites from this soundtrack. It's a really pretty song, and another one that really sticks with you. So this is Starlight Zone. Enjoy. right, so a couple of fun things. If I'm remembering my trivia correctly, you can actually hear for the main melody of the song, it's being played by two instruments at once, and one of them is the ring collecting sound. That's
yes, I hear it.
Playing
I hear it immediately. The minute you said it, I hear it. Yeah,
which is super cool. I also really appreciate the drums in this song. It's such an interesting approach. What style is this making me think of? What genre of music is this making me think of?
I mean, personally, I was gonna say this reminds me of like loungy music.
That's what like lounge elevator music or something, but it's good.
Yeah, it can't be elevator music because it's good. I have it playing very lowly as I'm talking. It's got like this. God, I can't put a finger on it. The best thing I can come up with is like a loungy, almost like Euro pop, like Euro pop long before Euro pop was kind of, in its heyday, I suppose. I don't know what to. I do hate labeling things, but I don't know what to label this.
It's it's the way it all comes together tonally that's so unique. Like the bass is so warm in this song. It's a really, really warm sound, and the fact that the drums it's just kick and hi-hat. There's no snare in this at all whatsoever.
Right.
And it's like a really, really quiet hi-hat. It's such a reserved song in all these very specific places, and it all comes together sounding incredibly full. And I think really a lot of that does come down to the really, really warm bass sound that they came up with.
It really fills it out. It takes place. I don't want to say it takes place. I think it fills up the space where like the snare would exist.
Mm-hmm.
I think after listening to it again while we were talking, I think on a technical level, I would almost say that this is like modern jazz.
Okay. There's
like a lot of elements here that I think exist in, some modern jazz stuff. There's your kick and hi-hat. There's like a nice solid bass to really kind of give it a skeleton, and then you have like your synths or your horns in this case, and they're just free to kind of go wherever they want to go. And I think that's where it all comes together, the same way like a improvisational jazz piece might come together.
Yeah, maybe, I would think I'd have to agree with you, yeah.
Maybe that's why I also get lounge, because I kind of have this... I mean, my experience of live jazz, for the most part, has been tiny clubs and tiny venues, so maybe that's why I get the lounge vibe.
Huh.
I don't know. Maybe I could be overthinking. Maybe I'm overthinking that.
Oh.
Where does it end? Riverdance, that's where it ends.
There it is. Riverdance. All comes down to Michael Flatley.
Oh, God, it always does, doesn't it? Anyway,
well, I really like that song.
I definitely do too. It's a nice chill, again, a nice chill piece from a game that many may not have thought should have been as chill as it was. I don't know.
Well, that's the interesting thing about this soundtrack is that I unlike you, I do genuinely like this game. I don't love it, but I do like it. Right. But divorced from the game itself, just really, this is probably one of the first times I've ever really sat and just listened to the music. Like, I've listened to it in the background and stuff, but I've never really focused on listening to it until now. And I gotta say, I'm really enjoying the music, like totally divorced from the game, like as its own standalone pieces of music. I'm finding it to be very, very interesting.
I'll agree with you 100%. Definitely something that I think I would not have thought this way. Like if you asked me to hum things that I thought hum pieces that I thought from the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, I would come up with something completely polar opposite of this. So it's a pleasant surprise to kind of go back to something you probably haven't checked out in 30 years.
Yeah.
And think like, oh, okay, this is not what my mind's eye remembered.
Well, let's keep this train moving, and let's go on to the Scrap Brain Zone. which is certainly the most interesting title so far.
Yeah.
Scrap Brain. All right, let's give it a listen. Here we go. Enjoy. It's a super interesting song.
I will agree with you. I'm not too fond of like those extra toms.
The big timpani sound, you mean? Like,
yeah.
dum 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 dum.
I feel like they should have maybe chosen like a different sound patch or something for them, and it might have kind of blended in a bit better. Unless, of course, that was their goal, for it to not blend in which case they did a great job. But that being said, not a huge fan of it. But you mentioned before how much of a fan of the drums you were, and so when I heard those, dum 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 dum, I was like, oh god, what's going on here? But it made me take notice of the actual drum kit, and I have to agree with you. It sounds really great. Like the kick is really like nice and low and like sort of on the punchy side.
Mm-hmm.
The snare, just nice, crisp. Sega Genesis snare, if that's even a thing.
I mean, it's the Sonic snare. I feel like that sound is whenever they're trying to invoke like classic Sonic sounds. Like when Sonic Mania came out, the music used that snare sound. Like that's the Sonic snare sound.
Yeah, so I had really kind of perked up to the drum kit, and I'm absolutely going to agree with you. This is a really nice. The samples being used is really great. I like this track a lot. This was the track that I was originally thinking Labyrinth Zone was, and I'm a fan of this one. One of the few I do remember from this game, except for the early stuff. Yeah, I like this one a lot, and there's that section of it. I just butchered it,
and like where and like the bass doubles up there. It's so weird. I've never noticed that before listening to it now in headphones, that the bass sounds the way it sounds here the whole song, except in that one spot it sounds like they just doubled it, and it sounds so cool in that one little spot. It's really neat.
Yeah, I like that part a lot because it almost comes out of nowhere, and then it goes back to wherever it came from. It's like, yeah, I get a little like, I'm like, I could have used like just one more round of that or something, Yeah,
and I definitely have to agree with you completely on that the drums in this, everything about this track is great, except that timpani sound.
Right.
It's always bugged me because, like, I love the way this song starts. Like that, it's such a cool little intro, the way it winds up, and then it really gets going, but then it just hits you with the dum 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 dum, like, ugh. And it's not even. I feel like even if they got that sound right, it's doing this song such a weird disservice, especially in the second part when it's just like ba-dum dum dum. Dum-dum-dum-dum, like just kind of chiming in every couple of notes or so. It's so distracting for an otherwise, I think, brilliant song. It's really, really cool. It's a very memorable tune, too. I remember seeing a friend of mine play this stage. You know, I was never able to get this far, but I had seen most of the stages from, friends playing it over the years. And then eventually, like, I think there was like a level select code or something that you could get through where you could try the stages. But this one definitely stuck with me. It's a really good song.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, after 30 years, I'm surprised some of this stuff is still kind of, rattling around in my brain. And this was one of them.
You got scrap brain on the brain?
Oh, got me. You got me so good with that one. I walked into that. Maybe I do.
All right, well, things are winding down here. We only got a few tracks left, and they're interesting ones. So let's go ahead and listen to this next one, which is, man, these special stages have always stuck with me as just being like, what the heck? I remember the first time getting to one of those special stages, and you just, wait, what? 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 Because, everything's spinning around, and the background's like, it's birds, and now they're fish, and what is happening right now?
It was a very vibrant acid dream, wasn't it?
They were super trippy. But anyway, here's the weird music that goes to the special stage. Enjoy! That song stresses me the heck out. Go in there! Go! No, don't hit the red dot! It turns and you fall and you hit the red dot. It's like, I almost had the Chaos Emerald. I was like inches away and then it just,
I have to look this up because I am not remembering. Like, there's nothing that's, let me see. Special stage. Oh!
There it is.
Oh, these effing things. Whoa. Dude. What was this?
Right? It was so weird.
Who the hell made these? Like, what drugs were they on and where do we get some? Because some of these, I'm just looking at a couple of pictures of this. Oh yeah, first of all, the background, very MC Escher. And that's what I really enjoyed the most about it, 'cause I'm a huge MC Escher fan. But more importantly, what is this gameplay? I feel like this was the precursor to Sonic Pinball. Like, someone was like, I got this idea, but I don't know how it's gonna play out. And they're like, well, we need special levels. And he's like, say no more, fam. I got you. And then everyone's like, what?
Then somebody smoked a whole bunch of crack and said, what if it was constantly spinning around?
Yeah.
It's like, no, you mean Sonic? Yeah, he's going to be spinning around. Like, no. He'll be spinning around.
Yep.
And then the stage will be spinning around.
What? These levels. I'm gonna watch some playthrough. Like these things. And then of course there's a still from Sonic Pinball, but anyway, yeah, these were okay. So all jokes aside, these were actually done. These levels were done really well. Like those backgrounds were like amazing.
Yeah, and they like morph into each other. They were really, they were visually stunning. They were just like really hard and
you
weird.
Just weren't not expecting it.
Yeah,
you're playing this one game, and then you hit one of these special levels, and you're just like, did I just put in a new cartridge? What the hell just happened here? It's so bizarre, but yeah, the music never was there like music that did not fit what was happening. More so than this, I personally think.
And you know what? At the same time, like it fits and doesn't fit because like it's super weird, trippy music, and there's like this super weird, trippy stuff going on in the background. But the actual gameplay itself is like super tense because you're trying to like cling to these surfaces and mash against these little diamonds so you can get the emeralds. And I gotta say, like, I was doing a little image search too, just to kind of see if there was anything other than birds and fish in the background. And I caught an image of the bonus stage from the Master System version of Sonic the Hedgehog, which is such a fascinating comparison between the Master System version and the Genesis version, because they're totally different games. They have completely different like play styles too, because they couldn't really you couldn't really give Sonic the same kind of inertia that he had on the Master System. So it intrinsically plays differently, and all the levels are different, all the stages are different, except Green Hill Zone is the first place you go to. But the soundtrack on the Master System game was by Yuzo Koshiro, and is I think in a lot of ways even more appropriate. Like I love the bonus stage music in the we really got to do a Master System Sonic episode. Like I wanted to get the original Genesis one out of the way, but I really want to hit the Master System version too, because if you've never heard it before, I know you're a fan of Yuzo Koshiro's work. I think you'll really dig it. It's really neat. It's really neat hearing Yuzo Koshiro do Sonic, because it's a weird thing, you know.
Yeah, I'm game. So.
Anyways, so that's enough of that weird thing. Let's move.
Acid trips aside.
Acid trips aside. Let's head over to the boss music. So this is the track's just called Robotnik, but it's the music that played when you fought bosses. Yeah, it's a good time, nice and doomy. So let's go ahead and give it a listen. Here's Robotnik. Enjoy. You know, it's funny, this has that same timpani sound in it from Scrap Brain Zone, but it actually works here.
Yeah.
It's appropriately, like, evil and epic, and it also occurs to me, like, of course it's called Robotnik. All the bosses were Robotnik. I just kind of spaced on that, like, oh, no, this doesn't just play when you're fighting Robotnik. Oh, wait, they're all Robotnik.
Joke's on you, fool. I was them the whole time. Yeah, right. Like I said, appropriately doomy. Appropriately bossy. I like it. I actually, this is I do wish the loop was a little longer. Kind of wish there was just a little something else. But other than that, I'm nitpicking, honestly. I think it's great. I think it's a really great one.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, most of the boss battles didn't last all that long, so it was appropriate for what they were, and it's cool boss music because it's also. The pace of it is so much slower even than the relatively chill music that's in the stages themselves, because there's no real running around when you're fighting these bosses, so it's very much like slows you down to methodical and just do what you gotta do and take down Robotnik and free those cute little woodland creatures.
was a Ren and Stimpy line that's in my head. They don't know. They're stupid.
Oh, the little critters of nature. They
Yes.
don't know that they're ugly. That's
Yes,
very
that's it.
funny. A fly
That's it.
marrying a bumblebee. I told you it'd shoot, but you didn't believe me. Why didn't you believe me?
I told you. You didn't believe me. Oh my god. This got way out of hand real quick. Sorry. I apologize. It's just sometimes these things creep in on the edge of my brain and I'm like, what are you? Wait, I know you. Where are you? What? Hang on. Everything stop. I need to identify this because this is going to bother me for days.
Happy,
Good time.
happy, joy, joy, happy, happy,
Hope.
joy.
Happy? Happy.
Man, Ren and Stimpy, that was a part of my life right there.
Really was.
Any Hoosers, we
Yep.
could talk
Oh,
about that
God.
for a while.
That's a podcast for another podcast. As,
Heck yeah.
My co-host says.
So this next one's kind of a bonus track. I threw this one in there because we needed 10 songs, and this is a song that retroactively always makes me think of Sonic 1. So eventually, for the Sega Genesis, with lock-on technology, they released Sonic and Knuckles, which was a Sega Genesis game that you would plug in. It was its own thing. It was the second half of Sonic 3. And if you plugged Sonic 3 into your Sonic and Knuckles cartridge, you could play through all the content in Sonic 3 as Knuckles.
Yes.
And then if you plugged in your copy of Sonic 2, you could play through all of Sonic 2 as Knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you plugged in Sonic 1, you couldn't do anything. Sort of. It would just say, no way, and it would play this wonderful, wonderful, catchy tune, which I love. Now, if you pressed, I think, A, B, C, and start at the same time, you could play a whole set, like a unique set of those 3D ball bonus stages from Sonic 3, which I love those stages so much. So that was really cool to have basically like a whole mess of it's just those back to back to back. So that's super cool. But this track, it's super short. It's by Jun Sen-yue, I believe is how you pronounce it. I don't know. Our friends the Alexes told us how to pronounce it back in the old back when we did Sonic Adventure. But hey man, whatever. This is a cool song. I love it, and it makes me think of Sonic 1 because this is the song that played when you plugged Sonic 1 and pretty much any other cartridge that wasn't Sonic 2 or 3 into your Sonic and Knuckles cart. So here is No Way. Enjoy.
I feel like I've heard that before, but I mean, like, the whole process of trying to find it is something I never would have done. So it's such a what a strange kind of Easter egg.
I was so fascinated by Sonic and Knuckles, man. Like, first off, the whole bit where they were like, "We invented lock-on technology for this thing," and then I'd look at my Super Nintendo and the Super Game Boy sitting out of it and be like, "No, you didn't. It's right there.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. You invented a pass-through cartridge, but you didn't invent it. There's one right there. Heck, you did the same thing with the power base converter years ago. Stop it. Stop your lies." But just the concept that you could take this new game and then pop other games onto it and like have new content come out of it was really cool to me. And so like that was one of the first things I did. The commercial said you could do, Sonic 3 and Sonic 2. So I went over to my friend Greg's house and was like, well, let's put Sonic 1 on it, see what happens. And that little no way thing would come up and the music would play. And we're like, aw, the music's pretty cool though.
Well, but you said that there were even extra 3D stages, right?
Yeah, but we didn't find out about that for like another month or two. Like, we just figured, okay, well, that's that. Because it just says no way. You have to enter like a little code to make those show up. When I found out about that, I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
What else is hiding in this thing?
What else aren't you telling me?
Oh my god. That's nifty though. Like I kind of miss that stuff. Like I feel like that stuff doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, fun little weird physical Easter eggs like that are wild. Like we were just recently talking to our friend Ferg was playing Star Tropics, or was going to play Star Tropics for the first time. And we're like, you need the letter. And he's like, I still have it, but I'm not dipping anything in water. I'm like, no, it'll be fine. It can survive being dipped in water. You gotta do it. It's part of the game. It's such a unique fixture that, putting the letter in water, turning over your Metal Gear Solid case and finding Meryl's codec code, like, I love weird stuff like that. And this was a really cool, very memorable thing.
Yep.
Well, let's wrap things up. We got one track left, and it is the Final Zone. This is the music that plays when you're in the Final Zone on the last boss battle and everything. So, yeah, it's super happy. I'm just kidding. Here's Final Zone. Enjoy. Final Zone. What are your final thoughts on Final Zone?
I'm really surprised that I actually remember that one too, because I feel like when I was a kid, I had no kind of skill. I couldn't beat any of the games I owned. To this day, there's some games I just never beaten. But I feel I'm confident I beat at least Sonic 1, and hearing Final Zone, it gives me the confidence to say that I beat it, because I remember this. I definitely remember this track. I like it a lot. This is another place where those toms, timpani come in, and they're done right. Like, oh, that's definitely where they belong.
Yeah, they're right where they belong.
Yeah. Solid, really solid track though.
A solid soundtrack overall. Really happy with it.
Absolutely. Look, I never said I hated the game. I'm just not a fan. Like I said, we grew in two different directions. But that being said, this game is a really good soundtrack. Like, solid start to finish.
Yeah, I'd heartily agree. Not my favorite game on the planet, but really very iconic Genesis soundtrack. It really does the platform service. Like, I think there are a lot of songs that come out of the Sega Genesis that, in the wrong hands, that system can just sound like garbage, but in the right ones, it can really sing. Now, I will say that I didn't play the Invincibility song. Whatever. It's the theme. It's the theme played fast. It is what it is. Right. And I also very specifically did not play the Drowning theme. You're welcome.
Oh, I forgot about that one. That animation is traumatic.
Oh my god, of him drowning?
Yeah.
But that music is probably the most stressful song ever written. That music is the sound of drowning. I hate it. So, no way. Just no.
Sir, but don't like it.
Are you more Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah, yep.
Mr. Horse, how did you feel about that fall?
No, sir, I didn't like it. Oh, my God. It hurts.
Man, that show. Anyways, so... without any further ado, I think it's time to wrap this up before we just start quoting Ren and Stimpy for the rest of the night.
I'm sure our fans would not have a problem with that, but...
Probably not. It is we who are your fire dogs. Join us next time when we fulfill a promise and celebrate another anniversary at the same time. After losing the audio for our Sonic Adventure 2 episode, it's time to team up with Alex and Alex once again and celebrate the game's 20th anniversary in style. It's been long enough since we recorded that, none of us has any idea what we said about it the first time. So
nope.
It'll be like the old version never happened, because technically it didn't. Anyway, we here at the WaveBack Podcast are incredibly grateful to everyone who listens, and we love communicating with you whenever we can. And we have a couple of ways you can do that. There's the Geekade Discord channel, in which we have a WaveBack chat where we frequently discuss all manner of stuff related to video game music and whatever our next episodes are going to be. We also have a Facebook forum page, which you can find by searching WaveBack on Facebook. Of course, you can always still send us an email at mail@geekade.com. And while you're at it, check out all our other social media channels, which you should totally follow, like, and subscribe to if you haven't already. And be sure to check out all the other great content we have on our site over at geekade.com. Matt, do you have any wonderful things to plug for us today?
As always, the world's longest one shot continues every other Saturday on our Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/geekade. Every time I come on here and you ask me to plug something, this is what I plug, and I say the same thing. We're getting close to the end. I'm just going to say it again. We're getting close to the end. I'd love to believe that we might wrap it up by summer's end, which would be nice. But we got a guy who plays a character who the character's a 19-year-old young man who makes very, very, very bad decisions, and that's that's where we're at. So
it's realistic.
It is. He really is doing a great job of poor impulse control. So every other Saturday.
Well, I will plug the WaveBack Overplay. We just finished the Mega Man Overplay, and they just announced a physical release of Mega Man: The Wily Wars is finally being released in America thanks to Retrobit. You can buy it on many different sites, including Limited Run and Retrobits on site, but I mashed up the music from the NES Mega Man with their counterparts from Mega Man: The Wily Wars for Sega Genesis. It's freaking weird. You want to talk about weird Genesis music and sometimes not using the instruments given to you, provided by the console in the correct manner? Well, that's certainly an example of that. And sometimes they did it great. Sometimes they did it not so great. So either way, it's a fascinating listen. Head over to WaveBack Overplay on Facebook and give it a listen. All right, we're going to leave you tonight with staff roll. It's the the staff roll, ending credits. It's how we do here at WaveBack. We like to leave you with the credits. So join us next time for some good old fashioned butt rock. And thanks for listening, and have a great night.
If and you ain't the granddaddy of all liars, the little critters of nature, they don't know that they're ugly. That's very funny. A fly marrying a bumblebee. I told you I'd shoot, but you didn't believe me. Why didn't you believe me? Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, 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 joy, joy, joy.